shoot the coverage. The coverage could be over-shoulder shots, close-ups, medium shots, two-shot, any number of things. That could be the coverage. When I shoot a master scene, and I'm not alone in this, this was the way the older directors used to do it. If you shoot a master scene and you play the whole scene and it plays well, I don't shoot coverage. That's the scene. We finished it. It's over. You say this to an actor who's so used to shooting coverage, even if they don't need it, which they don't need it. You say to an actor, as I did, for example, with River Phoenix, who was a young actor. I worked with him on a film called A Thing Called Love. And River, I said to River, we're going to shoot this scene without a cut. You're walking with me. Samantha, you walk, 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 walk. Camera will go with you. It'll be a long dolly shot, and when it's over, the scene is over. Camera will move in at the end and so on, but there'll be no cut. He says, you mean you won't cover it? No. You won't even shoot a close-up? Nothing? No overshot? Nothing. No kidding. You mean when the scene is, when you say cut and you print it and you like it, that's it? We're finished? I said, yeah. Holy shit, really? And I couldn't believe it. And we did it, and I said print. He said, you're not going to cover it. No, he couldn't believe it, because actors are always afraid you're going to cover it. Because they like the take. They say, wow, it was good in that, you know. And say, well, we've got to cover it. Oh, because then they know they have to try to do it again. It's very difficult. The thing you say about acting, you say to an actor, were you in it? Did you get into it? That means, did you lose yourself in the role? That's a key question. Did you get, I didn't get into it. Did you get into it? Yeah, I got into it. Meaning, you lost yourself in the role. Now, if you're playing a 3 or 4 page scene and you lose yourself in the role and as you play it, that's what we want. But if you have to cut every minute, because, okay, we got that, now we're going to cut over, now we're going to get another angle, same thing over here, you have to regenerate that. You have to re-get into it again each time. So, of course, an actor prefers to do it once. He doesn't have to do it 10 times. So it leads to better acting. It leads to happier cast. It goes faster. And I don't see any reason why not to do things that way, except that you don't. The only reason we don't do things that way is because the director doesn't know what the hell he wants. So he has to shoot it a number of different ways, because he'll make his decision in the editing room, which I don't think is the place to make that decision, but virtually 99.9% of films are made with decisions being left to the editing room. I don't like editing. I don't like looking at dailies, so for me, I said, let's just get the damn thing done. Let's shoot the picture the way we're going to cut it, and then we're done. So when I shoot a scene, it cuts together very quickly. There's no alternates. There's no other ways of doing it. You can only do it this way. It won't cut any other way. Or there's no footage to cut to. You know, when in Cat's Meow, there's some sequences in black and white. Everything you saw that we shot in black and white was shot in one day. Right. Wasn't easy. So you haven't got a lot of time to do extra shots so you can make up your mind and get it in what you'd like to use it, what they call luxury shots. We don't have that. And I don't believe in luxury. Movies are hard work, they're expensive, they're difficult.
Are there any, do you keep up much at all with contemporary cinema? Are there any things you like from anywhere around the world, things you do?
Well, I'm ashamed to say I haven't seen too much, but there's a few people I've spotted. Wes Anderson, I think, is very, very talented, and I've seen his new film, The Royal Tenenbaums, which is absolutely superb. Just, you know, he's really, really, really good. Very special. He's made 3 films, Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, and now this one, The Royal Tenenbaums, which has a very good cast. I said to him, you have the dubious distinction of being the first man to make Gwyneth Paltrow really sexy. Really sexy in this movie. I don't know how you do it. Because she doesn't do much. She's just very casual. I think that's one of the things that's good about her. She's a very thrown-off performer. And so I did this television work, and to be honest with you, Todd, if I hadn't done it and gotten back to basics, because one of the great things I learned from doing all this television work was that you have to go quickly, you have to make decisions, you have to direct. You got 19 days to do a 2-hour movie, you got 20 days to do 2 hours, you got 22 days, that's a very short time. And I was used to 40 to 50, 60-day schedules, so I had to really learn to go fast. Or relearn to go fast, because when I made my first film, I did it in 23 days. So I had to get back to that.
You mentioned Tarantino. I'd heard at one point you were collaborating with him on something.
Well,
Quentin's
going to be in Waythrough. He's going to play a ghost. I thanked him and the titles for Cats Now because he was very helpful to me a couple of years ago when I was leaving New York in the interim period. He let me stay in his guest house for about 6 months. So it was, I was the man who came to dinner. But he was very nice about it. So I thanked him. Orson Welles stayed in my house for 2 years, and I was now playing Orson, and he was doing me.
Were you writing something with him, or was that, I heard
But
that?
he just read the script, and he had some ideas, and he had given some very good notes.
Oh, I see.
Actually writing, but we sort of collaborated on some rewrites that we talked about.
You made a comment back, I don't know, when in the late 60s, which I think is interesting in the light of all the articles and commentary that's been written of late about the death of cinema and the death of cinephilia and film buffism and all that kind of thing. That back at some point, you said that all the good movies have been made. You made a comment like that, and I think it was in the late 60s. I was wondering.
Well, actually, it was a line of dialogue
Yeah.
in a movie that I wrote and directed, and I actually played the part, and I said the line in the movie.
Targets?
In Targets.
Right.
All the good movies have been made.
Well, how do you feel
I
that
still think that was
true? Yeah. Do you still think it was true at the time, or do you
Well,
just
I
think
think
it's
it
true
was,
now?
I think, let me put it this way, this was a completely personal statement, and I thought as I made it in the movie, well, I don't know if I really believe in this, but the character obviously does, so the character said it was me playing the part, so I must have believed it to a degree. I think I did feel it. I remember saying, asking Orson what he thought of that sentiment, and he said, well, of course they've all been made. Everything good is always been made. It's a generous and kind perception. And